Look, I would just rather have it than not have it.
I'll let you take the free thing.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 science fiction comedy Office Invasion, a film that is co-directed by Gareth Crocker and Fred Wolmarans. And it stars, and I hope I pronounce these names right, Ria Ragaka, Niroshan Naidu and Sheshaba Rampheel. Now, if those names sound a bit odd, that's because this is a South African science fiction comedy. And it focuses on these three best friends that work for this company in South Africa, I believe it is. This company essentially is mining for some kind of rare mineral that's very, very valuable. It's going through a transitional period, this company. It's making an awful lot of cutbacks. It's losing money. And it decides to sell to this company that appears to be fronted by a ruthless Australian businessman. But in actual fact, it gives a whole new meaning to hostile takeover because it's not an Australian businessman. It is three aliens that are after this rare mineral for themselves. And it's up to these three best friends to save the company and to save everybody from these aliens. Right. What are my thoughts on Office Invasion? Well, for a science fiction comedy, I think this film ticks a lot of boxes. It's always difficult, I think, to blend comedy sometimes into other genres. I think action comedies are probably the easiest and the most successful, and have had the most success. Horror comedies and sci-fi comedies, sometimes tonally they don't always work. But I'm happy to report that while, you won't be laughing and, side-splitting yourself with laughing watching this, this film made me chuckle a few times. The humour in it, for the most part, worked. Well, it certainly worked for me because, comedy's subjective. What I find funny, you might not find funny. But aspects of this film I thought were humorous. It's definitely trying to be satirical around office life. And I think for the most part, it's quite successful because for a big chunk of my professional career, I've worked in and around offices, and they're quite unique places. I'm sure many of you who are watching this do as well. And it's quite an easy thing to poke fun at, and I think this film does that quite successfully. I think where this film falls down quite badly is in regards to the science fiction. You don't get anything till way past an hour into this film, and this film was only, I don't even think it's an hour and a half long, maybe an hour and 20, 25 minutes, 23 minutes, something like that. It at one point watching it, I actually had to remind myself that this actually was a science fiction. So I kind of looked it up again because I'm like, well, the poster is and everything's indicating that it's a science fiction. I looked at it, so I was well, yeah, it is supposed to be science fiction. But where's the science fiction? Nothing at all until really quite near the end, which I thought was a little bit of a shame, because you find yourself tapping your feet thinking, okay, when is something actually going to happen that you can class as science fiction? Now, I think if this film hadn't have tickled my funny bone, to coin a phrase, a few times leading up to it, I probably would have given up on this, maybe. But I do think it's smartly written. I think it's quite witty. I think there are some fun characters here. And it is quite quirky. And it will certainly, well, I don't want to say it'll make you chuckle. It made me chuckle is what I really want to say. Some of the humour as well, it's like quite juvenile. It's a bit of a mixture of humour, you know what I mean? It's like satirical. It's got like some over-the-top quite character sort of thing. At times it almost feels like a sitcom in its approach to comedy and stuff like that, but it kind of dips its toes in different areas of comedy. There's some like gross out comedy. There's a scene where essentially what happens is, like I say, they go in to take over this company because they're after this rare mineral. They make all these cutbacks and things like that, which didn't make a lot of sense to me, because why would aliens make cutbacks? What do they care? They just want the minerals. So they're going to kill everyone anyway, sort of thing. But they do. And one of the staff members, one of the three people that kind of, trying to save everybody, he's got a poorly daughter and he needs the health insurance. And they cancel all the health insurance, so he can't fund his daughter's treatments anymore. So him and his two mates basically decide to rob some of these rare minerals and sell it on the black market, sort of thing. So it kind of almost tries to do too much. It becomes a heist movie at one point. Like I said, it becomes like a South African take on The Office. And then by the end, it becomes like a science fiction alien invasion film. It almost tries to do too much. It almost tries to dip its feet into too many genres. Where I thought its real strength was its clever writing early on. And I think maybe if they'd have sewn in the sci-fi elements of this film a little bit better, because it doesn't seem to fit. The effects and everything are fairly decent by the end when you see these aliens and what have you, but it doesn't seem to fit the rest of the film, because by that point you kind of got used to this other film that you're watching, then it almost turns into, like I say, a completely different type of film by the end with the sci-fi elements. So tonally it's a little bit off, but there are one or two chuckle moments here, and it's not a film that I greatly disliked or anything. I just thought it was a little bit confused as what it wanted to be. But there is some entertainment value, which is why I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.